We all are actually good at a couple of things. Spend all your time trying to figure out what you're good at. And if God forbid one of those things is something you actually like too, you're off to the races. So I think people are audacious with their time. They're fancy before they're fancy. So everything's worth your time when you're at zero. It sounds crass, like never expect anything from anyone. But I almost want to find new ways to say it, just to help people understand it is the great gift of life.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 and 9. From my top 10, top 10, 9 and 9. This one's for my top 10.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and this channel was created to help you overcome the #1 challenge that is holding you back, a lack of belief in yourself. You watch these videos because you know there's something more inside you too. You have Michael Jordan level talent at something. So get ready to find happiness, figure out what you're good at, and do things your way with Gary Vaynerchuk and my take on his top 10 rules of success to give you the confidence, motivation, and belief that you need. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1, find happiness.
For me, happiness is being able to do what you want to do at all times.
So not conforming, like not pandering, yeah.
Just being able to do what you want to do. I mean, who wouldn't want that? And I think that is one of the great things about entrepreneurship. The cost of that is you're always 1 second away from dying, right? Entrepreneurship is scary. Like 1 second you're top of the world, next thing you know, like there is nobody behind you. You're the last line. It's like fighting a war, just you. You're the last. This is the castle, you. Everybody's been fighting you. So that's lonely, that's scary, but you get to define it. You get to tell what where they positioned and how they should fight it. And so I love that feeling. I love being in that place. Loving what you do is so people hear that and it's, even when I was a kid, I was like, oh, the boat, it's very fluffy, but it's very true. Like being happy in what you do, and whether that's making $45,000 a year or $4 million a year, if you really love it and you're really doing what you want to be doing, that's a very, very good place to be. You're just going to be happy.
Rule number 2, figure out what you're good at.
We all are actually good at a couple of things. Spend all your time trying to figure out what you're good at. And if God forbid one of those things is something you actually like too, you're off to the races.
Yeah.
And in 2019, when you can make a podcast or an Instagram account or a Shopify store around Dragon Ball Z and make $73,000 a year doing that, that's real. What I just said is real. That's crazy. That if you go pot committed, you have a job that you don't like, paying college debt that you're pissed about, but instead of coming home and having a beer and watching Netflix and playing Fortnite to escape, I get it. You want to escape, I get it. What I'm saying is just take a step back. Listen to me for a second. Come home and start building your Dragon Ball Z eBay account by buying on Craigslist and flipping it. Start a podcast and go Dragon Ball Z episode 1. Here we are. Start an Instagram account around Dragon Ball Z. Build. If you did that around somewhere 12 years ago, loved Black Panther. Somebody did. It was a rare comic book. It wasn't the biggest of the world, but somebody loved it. But they didn't think that they could build a business about Black Panther. What they didn't know was 10 years later, Black Panther was going to be made a feature film that was going to completely penetrate culture. If she or he had a podcast and an Instagram account that really was the nichiest of niche Black Panther fans, which made no sense 10 years ago, but it had its 43,000 people that f***ed with Black Panther. When that movie came out and had that huge marketing budget, that would have gotten $50,000 to market the f*** out of that movie on his Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, Twitter, podcast, blog. And that same person right now is still sitting in their cubicle making $79,000 a year, hating life. I'm fascinated by that.
Rule number 3, do things your way.
I'm wondering, for many people graduating, moving to new cities, what sort of advice do you have for building your community and the right people around you?
Being self-aware. Like if you're an extrovert, it's a layup. Like just go outside and say what's up. But if you're introverted, put in real work to create safe places to meet people, spend a lot of time networking with people that you feel safe with, finding people to introduce you to in those markets. I really think all of this is one big game of self-awareness. And if you're introverted your whole life, at 22, moving to a new city is not when you miraculously become a social butterfly. So you need to lean into who you are. And what you can do is spend a lot of time doing homework of people that you knew from a year older than you that are in that town, or a friend that has a cousin in that town, and feel comfortable in your process. But the ROI is always people. So meet as many people as possible in that new place, but do it your way, not my way or the way that it's supposed to do. Do it your way.
Rule number 4, redefine success.
You should always be doing what you want.
And even if nobody responds to it, like you should just...
You don't know yet. Not at first. Like, to your point, if you do something for a year and a half and nobody gives a f, now you're delusional. But notice that I'm giving you an answer based on where you're at now. If you don't have a podcast yet, you should start with what you love. Because the only way you're gonna do something hard enough is if you love it. You know? So you start with something you love, you do it for a year, you feel it out, and you know, if you're now into year 2 and nobody still is, now it's, you know, people always, the hardest question to ask is when should you double down on staying the course and persevering, or when should you bail and shut it down? You never really, like I can never answer that question. There's too much I need to know to answer that question, but in the beginning point, it's very easy for me to answer. Do something you love, because if you're doing something you think will do well, you're now already in a place where it's gonna be hard for you to make the content. You're not passionate about it. You got so many other you're gonna choose what else is better or easier. Like, you know, it's hard to get going around something you don't feel great about. You're just doing it for what? For the listens, for the subscribes, for what? I mean, I'm so passionately trying to get people to realize happy is better than money. I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about this. It's a very important conversation that we have to. If we want to really, really, really change, we have to redefine what success looks like. It is just not how many subscribers you have. It is not how much money you make. It's just not.
Also, if you want to have more motivation, self-love, and confidence, check out my 254 series. They're free. The link to join are in the description below.
My ability to only be comfortable in massive chaos has been my biggest asset as an entrepreneur. Like, I would never take a f***ing note. Like, that scares the piss out of me what these 3 people are doing right now. In a success world, please understand that success is happiness, not net dollars in. I really think mindset is everything, and so you've got to really decide, are you gonna be positive about things or negative about things?
Rule number 5, know what you're looking for.
I'm obsessed with perspective. Like, I genuinely believe you find what you're looking for. If you are looking for bad right now, it's a piece of cake. If you're looking for good right now, it's a piece of cake. I'm just asking you, what the f*** are you looking for? Like, please, it's just a very simple question. Like, and by the way, I hate, in a lot of ways, I hate the way I talk because it's super simple. And I'm sitting right now thinking about the kid who's listening to this, and she or he is in her room right now, earpods in, listening to this, and they're miserable because their dad's an alcoholic or their mom's this, or like real shit, you know, like tough stuff. And they're like, ugh, it's so, like, f*** you. It's not that simple, yet it is. Like, you know, one thing I don't do well is talk about my problems, which manifests in many ways. It manifests in being taken for granted in my real life and in my collective life, my outward life. And I got f***ing problems. I got lots of problems, real ones. I grew up with lots of this stuff, like lots and lots and lots of stuff. I just am not capable of going into it. Like, I don't get going. Like, I can't get there. And so one of the things that I try to remind kids, I'm like, take me out of the equation. Like, don't even use me when I'm saying these things for you. If you know of one person that has ever gotten to a happy place that dealt with your circumstance, there is a blueprint. The end. There have been people, Night Train Lane, legendary football player, was thrown in a dumpster the second he was born. Went on to be one of the great football players of all time, dated every actress in the game, was Red Fox's bodyguard, iconic gentleman. Dumpster. Like there's all sorts of circumstances.
Yep.
Rule number 6, Don't overvalue your time.
How do you know when a business opportunity or venture is worth your time? And when do you say no when so many people would say yes in that situation?
I think too many people overvalue their time when their time is worth nothing. So, this is my favorite one. Like, I love when people are like, yo, is this worth my time? I'm like, well, and it's in a business context. I'm like, well, how much money is your business making? They're like, yo, I don't have one yet. I'm like, well, your time is worth 0. So I think people are audacious with their time. They're fancy before they're fancy. So everything's worth your time when you're at 0. You may bail. I'm a big believer of I'm in yes culture. My whole game is yes, comma. I'm not a great person to ask the no thing. I think there's people that are more disciplined at no. I just like the value of yes. And then if I'm a week, an hour, a year in, and I've realized it's not right, I leave. I bail. Because I'm not worried about the loss, because I'm not hearing anybody's opinions. I think you get context. You know, the reason I like starting up and stopping businesses is because I like the context. Like right now, I'm super hot on this thesis that sports trading cards are about to explode again. So I'm spending an ungodly amount of, I spent 4.5 hours looking at qualitative data and quant data on eBay around Giannis rookie cards from Prism graded PSA 10. 4.5 hours. I don't have like 3 minutes for people that are running like $10 million businesses for me. So I like saying yes because I know I'm learning things, and then if I decide it's not worth it, I'll bounce. So a couple things I would tell you is, one, we need less audacity, right? And we need more tasting. And so, and I know when it's time to say no after I've said yes and realized after tasting it, it's no. You know how many people hate oysters but have never had one? That's how I think about that question.
Rule number 7, be patient.
I'm supposed to be patient because of my age. And
not supposed to, but keep going. But you're ambitious?
Yeah, exactly, and I need to go for it. And the thing is...
Dude, think about me. Think about how ambitious I am.
I know.
And I push patience. The balance of ambition and patience is everything. Yeah. But the part that you're not struggling with ambition.
You're literally right.
You're struggling with patience.
Yeah. And the reason why I say that is because that's exactly what happened. So I started on the...
I want to buy a multi-billion-dollar sports franchise.
I get it.
Ambition's not my problem.
I get it.
My strength is patience.
Yeah.
Your problem isn't your ambition. How do I balance ambition and patience? Easy. Lean into patience. Because ambition's easy.
Rule number 8, put things in perspective.
I struggled when I was a kid because I hated school. But since I've been a grown-up, not really. And I'll tell you why. Anytime I start getting sad, I get sad like anybody else, I immediately put things in perspective.
Put things in perspective.
And here's what I do, context. Like, just because this business thing, or just because these people said this thing about me, what would happen if my mom died today?
Rule number 9, have no expectations.
I am stunned by how almost binary my judgment is completely predicated on intent. Mm-hmm. If I believe your intent was to be there for me, but your actions were not that you were consistent, I'm completely unbothered, and I don't know what that means, but I'm super grateful that I have it.
Yeah, but that's an art and a skill that you have. And I'd like to think I have the same, where I'm able to do that too. I'm able to let go.
What is the concept of not having expectations from your perspective? Because I would tell you that may be my great superpower.
Yeah.
You know, somebody said to me, Tom Bellew on my podcast said to me, Gary, your superpower is your ability not to judge yourself. And I've been saying it a lot. And then literally on a flight this week, I was like, right, because I don't judge others.
Yes.
Like, I'm able to not judge myself because I don't judge others. A lot of people who
powerful.
right? So tell me, I don't know.
That's
I'm
so
just
powerful. No, I love that. That's such a great point.
How do you think
That's
about that?
That's such a great point. No, you're spot on, because the reason why we have we judge others is because we judge ourselves, right? The opposite of what you're saying. And so for me, it's the same thing. The reason why I don't expect is because I see everything as my responsibility.
Yep.
I see everything as my work.
Yes.
And I see everything else as a bonus.
Yes.
Like, it's just amazing that anyone even cares about me or has time for me or makes an effort to do something or connect me to someone or whatever it is. And that's just a beautiful bonus of life. But I've got to be in charge of it. And I think that just came from many years of having expectations. I think that came from times when I did expect and I didn't get, and I realized I don't want to feel this way anymore.
Well, this gets into parenting.
Yes.
You know, this is the framework of what our parents are creating for us. One of the most interesting things that are happening in a lot of modern societies is we have had disproportionate prosperity over 5, 6, 7 decades. America has had a clean run. I mean, we've had a couple of recessions here and there. We've had a couple of internal country scandals. We have underlining issues of sexism and racism and things of that nature. But in its most macro, this has been the empire. Things have been good. And what has happened is we've created unbelievable levels of entitlement.
Entitlement, yeah.
Entitlement. I can't stop thinking about it.
Yeah.
It's starting to consume me that I never, it sounds crass, like never expect anything from anyone. But I almost want to find new ways to say it just to help people understand it is the great gift of life.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is redefine ego.
We have to redefine ego because for some reason, a lot of alphas like to think ego's decent. Let me just explain this very clear to everybody, straight up, from one man's point of view. Ego is insecurity with makeup on. So like we need to redefine ego because when people hear ego, 40% of it like, yeah, but the ego, like they think there's a lot of good with that. Do not confuse confidence with ego. Ego is insecurity. It is not confidence. It's insecurity.
Now I have a special bonus clip from Gary on how to be grateful that I think you're gonna enjoy. But before that, it's time for the 3-point landing questions. Let's go from just watching a video to taking action. Here we go. Question number 1. What does happiness look like for you? Number 2, how are you going to redefine success? And number 3, where do you need to be more patient? And if you made it this far in the video, I want to celebrate you. Give me a hashtag believe down in the comments as well.
If we can lean into gratitude,
there you go.
A lot of good can happen. I don't know. I'm just super grateful, and it is an enormous. There is no Red Bull. There is no soda or coffee that comes anywhere close to gratitude. People think I'm drugged the up. I haven't even smoked a cigarette in my life because my mom got Nancy Reagan'd, and so I just came to realize, this insanity is predicated on gratitude. When you're so grateful for the at-bat, you're happy. But people dwell about dumb shit.
Yeah, the small stuff is so small. And
people are like mad when they get the wrong milk. Like seriously, I go to Starbucks, I travel a lot, you go to Starbucks and like, I asked for almond milk. I'm like, this bought a $7 coffee. Like, it's crazy. The is the matter with people? Evan, thank you so much for having a couple seconds and being able to tell the Believe Nation a little bit about Empathy Wines. It means a lot to me that you would take this valuable real estate and time on your channel to give me some love. It means a lot. It's just good karma points, and so you're awesome. Thank you. Believe Nation, if you're into wine at all, go to empathywines.com. My whole career's work was poured into producing a wine that rivaled $40 to $60 wine for $20 a bottle. I'm just super excited about this subscription-based wine business. You can order 3, 6, or 12 bottles in subscription form, rosé, white, red. If you search on Instagram or Twitter, you will be blown away. People are literally like, I don't even like Gary Vee, but the wine's good. Super proud of the effort. Thanks, Evan, for the time. Wishing you guys all happy and healthy.
If you want 10 more rules for success from Warren Buffett, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.